A house with such technology can also look quite of good. Darmstadt University of Technology also received architectural awards for its demonstration project. The building produced by the Darmstadt University then in 2009, the second one, produced twice as much energy as it could consume under intensive use. And I remember up there in Washington it was 2 weeks, and from these 14 days there were 12 days almost cloudy, raining, not much sun. But it was to all the houses, of course, the same thing. That was a crucial reason why the team of Darmstadt University of Technology also won the competition in 2009 and was subsequently visited also by our federal chancellor, Ms. Merkel, and she promised that the federal government would continue to progress this issue. The Federal Minister of Transport, Building and Urban Development, my current minister, Mr. Dr. Ramsauer, first time brought an electric vehicle with him to the inauguration of this house afterwards in Essen in Germany. It's a Daimler smarted electric vehicle which consumes about 0.14 kilowatt hour per kilometers. Thus, using the surplus energy produced by the Plus Energy House in Essen, it would be theoretically possible for the vehicle to operate for almost 80,000 kilometers a year. With this objective in mind, the Federal Ministry of Transport, Building and Urban Development organized an interdisciplinary competition for the construction of a Plus Energy house with electric mobility in summer of 2010. The competition was conceived as an open and interdisciplinary competition for higher education institutions in cooperation with planning offices. The task was to demonstrate that a building with a Plus Energy standard is capable of supplying its occupants as well as several vehicles with an average annual mileage of about 30,000 kilometers in the annual balance using only environmental energy. Here, the electric storage capacity installed in the building or in the vehicles play a central role. It serves as a buffer for the supply of the electricity to the house and the vehicles, and in connection with the smart grid can perform storage functions. I would like just to show very quickly you the winners of the competition, the third, second and the first prize. Just to illustrate that Plus Energy houses can enrich the townscape and provide attractive family architecture. All the designs submitted could have been implemented. This is the third prize was from Berlin University. The second was from the University of Dresden. The project presented here consistently deploys photovoltaics as architecture and explores the possibilities for realizing this architecture in the suburbs. And finally, the first prize went to Stuttgart University, the Institute of Lightweight Structures and Conceptual Design in cooperation with the Werner Sobeck company. Planning was completed by early June this year, 2011. Construction is take place over the period to end of the November 2011. The Fraunhofer Society is providing supporting research for the overall project. The client is the Federal Republic of Germany, and the opening is scheduled now for the 7th of December, so very soon. And again, Ms. Merkel will take the time by herself and will open it, and we are kind of proud of this. In March, subsequently, 3-month trial phase of the project supporting research will begin. In March 2012 then, we plan that a test family will move in and live there for about 15 months. During this time, the research work will continue. It's a single family house for a family of 4 to be constructed, comprising a floor space about 130 square meters on 2 levels. In front of the house, there will be a so-called showcase for vehicle parking and for accommodating the charging infrastructure for the electric mobility. Furthermore, the showcase will also be used to provide information to interested members of the public. Between the 2-story living quarters and the showcase in front of the house is the energy core of the building, to see this red field here, comprising all the heating, ventilation and air conditioning systems. An energy simulation of the building is already done and shows that the sun panels on the roof and outer facade produce 16.6 megawatt hours a year of electric power. The building itself requires only about 10.3 megawatt hours a year, with an estimated another 6.0 megawatt hours a year for the electric cars. There may be thus a small surplus which can be fed into the grid. The house has a battery with a charging capacity of around 40 kilowatt an hour. The battery can act as an intermediary storage device to enable electricity generated during the day to be used in the evening. Breaking down the energy balances by floor space illustrates the final energy demand of the house in detail. The heating requires about 21 kilowatt hours and square meter per year. The house is to be provided with an air-to-water heat pump powered by solar energy. Domestic appliances also account for a large share. They require over 19 kilowatt hours per square meter and year. It's essential that only domestic appliances with the highest energy efficiency rating, a AAA plus or so, should be used. The Federal Ministry does not want its project to be the only one, of course. We have thus launched a research program to support further model projects. It has been in force since August this summer. In this program, applicants must prove that their projects exhibited both a negative annual primary energy demand and a negative annual final energy demand. We are providing financial assistance to supporting research and evaluation for metrology and sensors and innovative components that are still uneconomical. So, for example, thin film cells for facades, batteries, hardware and software for the energy management system, or charging points for electric mobility. The first applicants were prefabricated house companies that are starting now constructing several plus energy houses at a show house park in Cologne. So an entire network of such buildings will emerge in Germany in 2012, and we will collect all the data relating to both the energy balance and sustainability and draw conclusions for the evaluation of such buildings. So our commercial slogan would be, "My house is my filling station." This is no longer a futuristic vision. Coming more to the end of my speech, I would like to point out some informations about comprehensive sustainability evaluations. In terms of the national economy, the building sector is a crucial sector for sustainable development. Around 40% of the total primary energy in Germany is required for the operation of buildings. And I was told yesterday here it was about 80%, someone was telling me, but I'm not sure on this in Hong Kong. Building consumes around 50% of all non-renewable resources, and at the same time it is responsible for around 60% of the volume of waste arising in Germany. In addition, issues relating to the demographic change and reducing land take are problems which sustainability construction has to respond. The federal government has established a permanent State Secretaries Committee for Sustainable Development at the Federal Chancellery. De facto, it reports directly to the Federal Chancellor. It monitors compliance with the federal government's Sustainable Development Strategy and takes decisions on how to focus various policy areas in order to ensure sustainable development. In December 2010, the body took a far-reaching decision, and you could see here some of the things like design all the federal buildings to meet the requirements of the Sustainable Construction Assessment System. Even before the decision, the Federal Ministry of Building had developed an assessment system for building sustainable buildings. This assessment scheme draws on the classical aspects of sustainability, that means ecological quality, economic quality, socio-cultural quality, technical quality and process quality were added as a cross-cutting quality. The site quality is described, but it's not assessed. All the major aspects of a building were weighted with the same percentage. The quality of sustainability is formed by a number of individual aspects. The number of these individual criteria has been established for office and administrative buildings. For each criterion, the measuring method and benchmarks are clearly described in toolkits. In case of ecology, environmental impact and energy efficiency plays a crucial role. In the field of economic quality, the focus is on the life cycle cost analysis. Socio-cultural quality comprises primarily aspects of comfort, convenience, as well as functionality. It covers issues that are important for the public sector clients, such as disabled accessibility, space efficiency, and convertibility. The assessment of all the individual aspects pursues a complex overall assessment, and at the end of this process, a building can be issued with a certificate. Its sustainability performance can be expressed by degree of compliance in %, a mark, or by a status, gold, silver, or bronze. If a building complies with all the statutory standards and is of otherwise good quality, it will reach the lower limit of bronze and fulfill about 50% of the compliance. A decree issued by the Federal Minister makes application of Sustainable Construction Assessment System to all federal buildings mandatory. Buildings must achieve a total degree of compliance with a toolkit developed for office and administrative building of at least 65%, which corresponds to the silver standard. This means that the federal government is the first major client in Germany to completely base its building activities in the next 2 years on sustainability criteria. So, thank you very much for your attention. I hope it was not too dull for you and interesting, some news. You hopefully get some informative news about our energy saving in the building sector, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kratzenberg. That was a very wide-ranging survey of the German building landscape, both administratively and physically. Lots of food for thought. And we have actually probably about 5 minutes before we break for afternoon tea. So I'm just wondering, Michelle, have we got some microphones ready? Would there be a couple of questions for Dr. Kratzenberg just before we go to afternoon tea? The Kira here and a question over there.
Thank you very much. Kira Shannon, Eden Ventures. Dr. Kratzenberg, I wanted to ask you a bit about some of the solar subsidy cuts. I know in the UK there's a big issue going on, looking at 50% cut for smaller installations and then 40 to 70% cuts for larger installations. And I know that Germany is also doing a similar sort of cut in the Feedin tariff. So when you look at your Energy Plus building, obviously it's about having a percentage coming from renewable energy sources, so coming from solar, PV, etc. So how will these cuts affect the future market? Thank you.
You're talking of tax cuts now, yes? For reducing your taxpayers' costs, or what do you mean with cuts? I'm sorry.
The cut in the feed-in tariff for solar, the subsidies.
Oh, okay, yeah. I have to confess I cannot explain it very clearly in answer to this. We have several programs, but I'm not in the details in the moment. May I ask you to give me your card or so? I can answer you by mail. Sorry.
Is there a question over here? If you could just state your name and your organisation first.
Ted Ong Lee from City University of Hong Kong. There could be a lot of policy tools that state or local government can facilitate adoption of green buildings. I'd like to ask the question, what kind of policy, such as incentive or regulation or kind of leading by doing, is effective and efficient to enhance adoption of green buildings in Germany?
You have to start on many levels at the same time. So it begins with education in the school to make pupils and students comprehensive on these topics. You have to give some public money, especially to landowners and the owners of buildings. And you have to put a lot of money in research. So this is, at the first level, maybe the most effective thing you could do, to spend much money in research for technical components. And at least you can think over some tax cuts or something like this. So, but it must always be a large, wide bunch of all components to come forward with these teams. It's not a single thing.
Any other last questions before we break? In that case, one here.
Eric Walker from the Climate Group. I think I got the number correct. You mentioned for the Energy Plus building that the target for the mobility side for the car was around, was it 3,000 or was it 30,000 kilometers per year?
80,000 a year. Now it depends. I once told you one system, they say about 2 cars and each car 30,000 kilometers a year.
Okay, so my question is, now that we've got to this point in Germany, which has taken many years and a lot of effort, how do we look at the broader scale of how cities are planned, why people have to drive so many miles or kilometers per day? I'm sure that's part of what you're dealing with, but in the larger picture of energy use in Germany, could it be part of the plan?
Well, it depends very much on where are you living. Of course, it's make a big difference if you are living in a grand city agglomerate or on the countryside. So, of course, this strategy to bring in electric vehicle is firstly taken for the cities. So, just to make a smaller ways with the cars and so. On the other hand, we are taking a lot of efforts to bring up our public transport systems also. But Germans love to go by car. So it could be a very good way for the environment to bring in more electric cars. And we have some plans that in 2000, let me say not a false thing, we are planning for 2020 that we will have then just about 10 million electric cars on our roads. And we have a big, we work together with the industry, of course, with all the other players on this field, and given also some public money in these fields, especially still the storage of electric energy in batteries is a kind of problem. So, but we will go ahead on this field.
Question down the front. Any questions at the back? One here then, please.
Hello, my name is Valdis Dunas from Solar City East Asia. Just following on the comments about the cars, does German government have a position about what kind of low energy cars are best? Because I think Germany's also done a lot with hydrogen powered vehicles, and people say that's a better solution versus using a lot of environmental resources to build batteries and things like that.
It's a very interesting questions. Both ways in the moment are pushed forward, but I think after some years you will have to decide in which way it will go. It will go. So it's not sure in the moment, but some of the industry like Mercedes still going on both solutions. Some are also only going into electric cars, so like BMW, for example. So it's not clear in the moment.
Thanks very much. If there's no more questions, we might call a halt to it at the moment and have some afternoon tea. If I could ask you to thank Dr. Kratzenberg once more for a very comprehensive presentation.